Now I'm going to start quilting my Magnum block. I left off on my sound wave using my orange thread, so I'm going to start in my orange and red sections while I have my thread already threaded and ready to go. So I'm going to start in the upper left hand corner of my block. I've got my threads ready, the bobbin thread's up, it's pulled back, and just refer back to your drawing that you had prepared for Magnum. In my drawing, I chose to put pebble quilting in this first piece, and I'm going to start with larger pebbles and then I'm going to make them smaller as I work down this slice of orange. Remember, with pebble quilting you're going to be doing a lot of travel stitching, and you don't want to do too many times around one circle, or you have the possibility of breaking your thread or a needle. So. I've just completed pebble stitching all the way down to the bottom of this column, and I am going to stitch in the ditch all the way up to the top of this next column to kind of give some definition between these two orange pieces. So I'm going to rotate my block and I'm going to stitch in the ditch. Reposition my hands. On my next column, I'm going to use my organic lines that we used in the first sound wave block, and I'm going to be using quite a few more to fill up this space and continue just like we did with the sound wave. I'm going to travel stitch, and I'm going to rotate my block, and I'm going to do my wavy line. And at this point, since I've done the two oranges next to each other, I can't really travel stitch to my red. I'm going to put my needle up, pull my quilt out, and trim my threads, and I will bury these later. Now I'm going to move over to my red because I'm still going to use my orange thread for this. And I'm going to do another pebble stitch, but this one is going to be basically the same size circles as throughout the whole column, just one after the next. It's basically circles in a row. And I'm going to start on this side of my block, and I put my needle right here, needle down, pull up my bobbin thread, position back, pull my threads back, and I'm ready. zone. And I'm going to kind of stitch to the center here, and then I'm going to start one circle after the next, just like coins almost. I finished my red strip with my circles, and I've rethreaded my machine with my purple thread on top, keeping the beige on the bottom. I have my thread tails up, ready, and I'm ready to quilt my purple column. I'm going to be doing the figure 8 or the wide wave in this column, and I'm going to start off working this direction and see how I feel about that. You can rotate it horizontally if that ends up being easier. I may want it horizontally, but see how much of my block is in my harp space, so it's actually less of it if I do it this direction. So we're going to try that first. I'm going to rotate because that is a kind of funny looking figure 8. I'm not feeling totally comfortable about the way that I'm positioned. So I definitely feel better when I'm doing these waves, working from left to right. Okay, I've reached the end of my purple. I'm going to travel stitch here to the end, put my needle up, pull my thread out, and I'm going to trim it, and I'll bury those threads later. I've rethreaded my machine with my black thread on top, and I've put the black thread back in my bobbin. I've got my bobbin thread and my top thread pulled back, ready to go, and I'm going to start on my background color column that I have here, and I'm going to do a wave, and then once I hit the end of this, I'm going to go into my borders and continue stippling throughout the whole background and borders all the way around the block. So just like in the sound wave block, we're going to do the wave. Okay, from right here, I'm going to make sure all these thread tails are out of my way. I'm going to stipple, and I'm going to stipple all the way down through my border and down this one piece of black. My machine is acting kind of loud right now, and you will notice if you've been quilting for a while, for a few hours or however long, because of lint buildup and the heavy work on your machine, it might get a little noisy. And after I'm done quilting these blocks, I'm definitely going to clean my machine. In between quilting projects, it's always important to oil and clean your machine, and that'll really help with the clunky sound. Right now I'm going to rotate my block, and I'm going to work to the edge and then work in rows down my quilt. I have stippled all the way around my block, and I am almost back to my starting point of my stipple right here. And one of the things that's really important when you're working around the borders is to stop as much as you need to reposition your hands. If you let your hands get out of control, you're going to have trouble on the borders because you're going to get puckering and you're going to have funny looking stitches. So just stop when you need to, go slow. You have a very narrow space right here, and so going slow and just focusing on what you're doing is really important. And we have marked our chalk line. I'm stitching throughout the whole border just because I need room to do my whole stipple design and to get movement. So I'm stippling across the whole border, and then we'll worry about cutting that up and chopping our block up, trimming I should say, trimming our block later.